In this video, we'll identify the tools we need to adjust. We'll take a quick look at the right-click options in the machine tooling setup, and we'll change the tool projection length in both the locator properties and the tool properties. I am picking up where we left off with our part open and simulation. I want to identify changes that need to be made to our setup after our tools were auto-loaded by MILLTURN. I could have done this in the Tool Setup Manager, but we get a different perspective in simulation, seeing them on the machine. I'm going to right-click and go to the left side view and zoom in a little bit. So the first thing I notice is that our end mill sticks out quite a bit. I think I'd like to shorten that up a little bit and make that a more rigid setup. We can see that tool number 6, our grooving tool, we need to extend that out of the locator a little bit more. Tool number 3, our boring bar, that came in a square shank holder. I'd like to put that into a cylindrical holder. And tool number 1, our prime turning tool, we probably want to extend that out of the locator just a little bit more. I'm going to go back to the left side view. We can visually check the clearance of our tools to the machine housing by turning the housing on to transparent. What we can see in this case is this is the back wall of the inside of the machine, and we can see that our end mill clears, but not by much. It's pretty darn close. I'm going to move the axis a little beyond where our hard stroke limit would be. This will demonstrate what happens when a tool protrudes too far. I'm going to change the value at the top of the x-axis to 5. We can see that the tool and the machine component turn bright red to indicate a collision. This is true even if the machine housing is hidden. I'm going to put the x value back to 0. You can see our collision goes away. We'll go back to the Tool Setup Manager to make these changes that I've just pointed out. I have the Tool Setup Manager open and the turret tree expanded. We can see that Mastercam has loaded our tooling for us. That happened when we launched into the Sync Manager. It matches the tools used in our operations to the first locator it finds in the library that will accept that tool. As we saw in the case of the boring bar holder, we want to change that selection, as well as change the projection length on a few of the tools. The right-click menu in the machine tooling setup is sensitive to what is selected when the right-click is executed. I'm going to right-click on an individual tool. You can see that we can set projection length, we can remove it, which would put it back in the tools in the machine group, and we can edit it there. We can view that component, or we can view all, which will bring us to the turret and everything on it. We can expand all and collapse all. As I move up the tree, I have more options. So now I can see the properties of the locator here. I can remove this component and children, so on and so forth. And as I get to the top, in the case of the turret, the options apply to all the levels below it. We can remove all children, remove tools, remove component and all children. I'm going to view the component and all children. And I'll right click and go to the bottom view so we can take a look at the numbers and locations. So nothing's changed from where we're looking at simulation. We can see our end mill's still too long. Tool number 6 needs to move out. We want to change the locator for the boring bar holder, and we want to extend the prime turning tool out from the locator a little bit. And I'll hit enter to bring us back into the Tool Setup Manager. To change the projection length of the prime turning tool, I'm going to right click on the properties of index number 1. And you can see in the bottom right hand corner, one of my options is projection adjustment, and I can put a number in there. I can also select this arrow, which will bring me to the assembly. I can pull it out, or I can put a number in it. I'm going to put 25 in there. That looks pretty good, so I'll accept that, and you can see that it fills in my projection adjustment amount. I also want to change the projection amount on the groove tool. So this time I'm going to right click on the tool itself And you can see that we can set the projection length here as well. Brings me directly to the assembly. So I'm going to change this one. This one's going to come out a little bit further, I think. So let's try 35. That looks pretty good. So if we view the work we've just done, we can view component and all children. And we get immediate feedback. I'll go to the bottom view again. And you can see our groove tool looks good and our prime turning tool looks good. We'll change out the boring bar locator and shorten up the end mill in the next video.